So I'm going to show you guys how to draw a sofa. So I'm going to get rid of some of these grid lines just so that you don't get confused. But I'm going to leave my back wall line so that helps you out. Okay, so you still see the back wall line, that's still there. So what I'm going to do is what I call create a footprint. So that just means like kind of like a floor plan area where you would want the sofa to go. So I'm going to say like kind of here is where I want my sofa to go, right? So that is the footprint of it. So then what I'm going to want to do is come up from each corner with a vertical. Here would be the back of it, right? And then using the vanishing point, I would connect the edges so that they're right in line with one another. So make sure that you're using the vanishing point for this. You're not just making stuff up. Clean up your line work so that this is a vertical and this is a vertical. Fix that horizontal so it's prettier and an actual horizontal. Fix my vertical. And then I'm going to connect the top with the vanishing point. So I'm going to get rid of this because I don't need that to be that high. So now you kind of have a base for a sofa. It's very blocky, so you're going to need to make it into what you want it to be. But I'm going to show you how to do a blocky sofa so that you can figure out how to make your own sofa the way you want it to be. So this is pencil thin, or paper thin rather, so it needs some depth. So just like with the windows and the door, you need to come out with a horizontal as fat or wide as you want the back of that sofa to be. So I'm going to come out just like this, and then I'm going to connect it back to the vanishing point. And then connect that with a vertical. So now I have the thickness. So I'm gonna use my ruler to make that a vertical right there at the corner. And then do the same here. Connect that back to the vertical, vanishing point. I'm gonna get rid of some of these lines again because it's getting confusing. So this actually needs to go here. There we go. So I made it too short. Okay, so see how you've got kind of a bench made out of block shapes? So now let's start refining a little bit more. So this is going to be where your knees bend over. So I'm going to make mine like this. And remember, this is wider than that because it's closer to us. So now let me clean that up using the vanishing point. And then clean up my verticals. So now I'm making a place for you to sit. So this will be, like I said, the place that you put your knees. And then this will be the cushion that goes back at a horizontal. So you guys see how that happens? Now, if you want it to be less modern and more rounded, you would simply make your edges more round or whatever shape they need to be. Let's say that it has some kind of crazy thing here, then you would need to make that shape over here as well, right? And then use the vanishing point to make sure that they line up correctly. See what I mean? So that's just up to you. That looks silly, but whatever your drawing needs to be is what your drawing needs to be. So let's say that it's really soft. You just round that over a little bit. Maybe, oh, I forgot to add this little guy. There we go. So now it looks like this. Okay, so let's say that maybe there are big puffy cushions that sit on top of that. So you've got this backing that's there, just like it was before. We'll just make it square again. But you want it to have plushier cushions. Right, so there you go, and that's still there. So you can kind of design it how you want. When it comes to your line quality, you don't want it to look like a ruler and a mechanical pencil did it, so try to make your lines make sense. When it comes to things that your knees roll over, you know, like if it's a soft edge, you want to use that implied line. See how my lines aren't connected, but they show that there's an edge there? Only if you want it to be a really hard edge, then you use a solid edge, like a solid line like that. So let's say this guy has some nice little modern feet. Make sure that those are in line together with a horizontal. Not really, this guy needs to come down a little bit, so there we go, and then you can clean it up with your eraser and make everything pretty and symmetrical. Let's say that maybe you want to put a rug, so again, with your footprint, I'm going to come out maybe like this, something like that, right? So then I can clean it up with my ruler so that it's straighter. And has a defined edge. But just like with cushions and things that are soft, rugs and draperies and things like that and cushions, you don't want them to be stick straight lines. So you play with the line quality. So maybe you kick up a corner or something here, or maybe it flows a little bit better and it's more like this kind of line, right? Instead of that stick straight line. So let's get rid of this grid because now it's a rug. So now it looks like a hole in the floor. So you're either going to need to add some light texture or pattern or something to the rug so that it looks like something. Maybe it's got some sort of design on it, right? And it's going to be that kind of line quality. But let's say that I want to put a coffee table here. So again, I'm just going to kind of outline kind of where I want it to go. If you want it centered on the sofa, you're just going to come out kind of like this and be like, okay, that's centered. I want it to be kind of here. And then you build off of that so that way it's centered on that. So you've got the footprint, you add your verticals. Go ahead and make it a cube. Use your vanishing point to connect those. Use your vanishing point to connect these. Now you have what looks kind of like a lucite table, so you could leave that, or you could turn it into a table like this if you want to go with the more modern aesthetic that you have with this sofa. So you get rid of the lines you can see inside, leave this guy, and then use your vanishing point to find the inside depth of those little legs. So connect your vanishing point to that little corner, and then vertical. It's really tiny, so I know it's probably hard for you guys to see. I'm gonna do my best. There you go. And that's just gonna be like a tiny little amount, right? So now we understand that there's an inside edge to that coffee table. When it comes to ellipses, so ellipses are just perfect circles turned in perspective. So if I wanted to do, I don't know, a vase here, I would use this trick where you put an X in the top of whatever you're trying to center something on, and now I know this is the perspectival center from where those cross. So that means if I want to put something directly in the center of this table, I do that X, and then I can go ahead and plop down whatever it is that I'm trying to draw here. So let's say that I'm making some sort of vase situation. Okay, so I've made my ellipse. Whatever this is doing, this down here is doing the same thing, but maybe just a little bit bubbly because it's below it, below this line. And then what's important here is if this is your ellipse, right, let's say that is what you're trying to draw here, you want to divide it in half and make it symmetrical. So whatever this side is doing, you want this side to look like the mirror image. Okay? And make sure that there's no weird lumps or anything. Now, next thing you're going to want to do is divide it in half this way and make sure that whatever the top is doing, the bottom is also doing the mirror image. So you're making it totally even. If you have an ellipse that has pinched football corners, you're not doing it right. They are always round. Even if it's really thin, they're still going to be round. They're not going to be pinched. Okay? So I've got this shape. Maybe I want to put some flowers or grass or something in it, some plants. Now I've got a pretty plant there. Okay, so this is how you do a 1-point perspective drawing. Let me know if you guys have any questions.